Technology in schools and the effect of social media in society. When the internet was first created, the inventors had no idea how influential this invention would once become and how large the impact would be on society. This new technology started off as an inconvenient software that was tedious and slow to use, but over the years progressed greatly, attracting millions of new users. The exact same thing happened with computers and all sorts of handheld devices as the internet slowly progressed. Now it is practically impossible to avoid the use or sight of social media or technology in our daily lives. Social media is everywhere and impossible to avoid. Since social media has only been around for a couple of decades, many wonder what the effect it will have on future generations. Since almost everyone now has some sort of computer or handheld device, a new era in schools is slowly developing. But the real question is if it's actually really helpful or more of a distraction. Technology can aid, but at the same time hinder children's learning tremendously. Many researchers wonder about the future impact or consequences of this new era revolving around technology and social media.
It's got a lot of benefits, but it's also something that we need to manage more effectively than I think we do now. The benefits are just how easy it makes to kind of share your work, to collaborate on your work, to get feedback on your work. You have access to, the world's information in ways that you never had before. So it's just opened up a lot of opportunities for students and teachers to really kind of make education more exciting, but at the same time it's also something that needs to be managed well by both in the classroom by the teacher and out of the classroom by the student.
My essential question is, how is social media affecting the future generations, and is the integration of technology into school systems actually helping or in fact acting as a distraction for students? One pro about the use of technology in schools is the use of learning-based websites such as Khan Academy. This is a learning-based website that covers information all the way from first grade elementary school to college level courses. Here students can participate in courses of many different topics, which if completed will earn them medals or some sort of prize as a form of motivation. These prizes are generally there to motivate children of younger school levels. If there is a certain topic that one does not understand, there are thousands of tutorial videos on countless topics on the site to help. A journalist named Kristen Winkler, who writes her own technology learning-based blog, stated, "The Khan Academy is using technology to have a profound impact on the way education is delivered. The organization, founded by Salman Khan in 2006, has a mission to provide a free world-class education to anyone, anywhere. It is making education economically feasible for people all over the world." In the article, she stated that Khan's site is a great milestone for free worldwide online education. Since it is accessible by internet, anyone, anywhere in the world is able to access and use the site for free. As well as being cost-free, the site can also help teachers teach their classes by allowing them to create their own curriculum. Los Altos High School has proven that they are able to use technology correctly to aid students' learning and to make sure they have an easy access to large amounts of information. The person in charge of this is the school librarian, Gordon Jack.
What we try to do in the library is make it easy for students to find quality information, online. I mean, from doing Google searches that, Google is great and you can get a ton of information on Google. Sometimes, though, for school assignments, Google isn't your best way to get information because you have to spend a lot of time kind of, judging whether or not the site is credible or not, or if the information is good. So we want to make sure that you guys have access to quality information that comes from respected journalists or researchers, And so that's what the databases provide, is they give you immediate access to that information, so you don't have to search through all the Google pages to find it. And so the databases and our ebooks help you find really good information that's not available on the free web. You can't even get it on Google because it requires a subscription, or you have to pay for it to get to it. So what my goal is just to make that as easy to use and accessible to use as possible for school projects where those kind of resources are necessary. And then we're also trying to put on sites that kind of help you create projects, whether that's like a better presentation or a better poster, or maybe giving you ways to think about using film for a film project. And so we try to put on resources for those kind of things too, so you can create original products as well.
This year at Los Altos High School is the first year where technology and computers are really being integrated into all classes. The school is even willing to lend out hundreds of computers for kids who do not have one available. The goal is to further the kids' learning and to teach kids how to use technology effectively when it comes to researching and organizing. If you teach kids at an early age how to use technology properly, there will be a lower chance of common misconduct.
I think on the whole, there's more benefit than deficit, I guess. I think the benefits, sort of like what I said before, is it's helping students learn a lot of important, digital literacy skills that they're going to need both in college and in the workplace. And so for students who never had access to, this kind of technology and computers, I think it's really helpful, because you're learning a lot of real-world skills that you're going to have to, use in college and beyond.
There are definitely a lot of benefits concerning the integration of technologies in the schools, but there are also many disadvantages concerning this integration. Laptops and smartphones have made it easy to check social media at any given time, including during class. This is so easy because the teacher does not have direct visibility of every student's activity from the front of the classroom, which is where the majority of teachers teach from. This makes it very easy for students to get distracted and therefore not absorb nearly as much information as if they would have been listening.
But I've also seen that it's made all the sort of, distractible social media sites way more accessible than they ever were before. So there's a lot more people watching TV, watching movies on social media, and I have a feeling that if all your work is on the screen and those things are accessible on the screen, it gets harder and harder to kind of keep yourself from watching those things. And I see adults challenge with that too. It's not just students. I see plenty of adults who, have things that they need to get done, but lose an hour to social media or lose an hour to Netflix. And so it's something for our culture, not just teenagers, but I think teenagers have an especially hard time with it. So, but at the same time, students have to learn how to manage that, because pretty soon you're not going to have anyone, breathing down your neck to do that. And so you have to learn how to manage getting work done and avoiding the temptation of some of these, distractible things.
Sites such as Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and Tumblr are popular amongst teens today and are very frequently used. A journalist named Andrew Simmons analyzed some of these social networking sites into detail. In this case, it was Facebook and Twitter. He stated, "My observations have reaffirmed the widely held notion that the internet is no refuge for the pains of adolescence. It is a really bad neighborhood. On Facebook and Twitter, students humiliate, jeer, and shame one another. They engage in antisocial, even criminal behavior, leaving belligerently racist comments on links, harassing classmates, and derogatory posts." This journalist considers Facebook and Twitter a bad neighborhood because instead of connecting with one another, many will shame on others over jealousy or other unimportant reasons. From this, I conclude that social media is definitely a part of technology that should stay out of the classroom. All it does is put up meaningless distractions for students we should be focusing on their education.
Since technology has progressed so greatly and so many young individuals have their own laptops now, they have access to material which would have been hard to come by beforehand. In an article by Lori DeMaru, she stated, "Providing students with technology, however, has not been without problems. The internet, computers, and cell phones have introduced a great deal of distraction into the life of many young people. They allow teenagers access to illicit material, such as pornography, that they normally could not obtain easily."
I don't see, like, I've never caught anyone looking at porn, you know,
Yeah.
but I'll walk by and I'll see a lot of, like, first-person, you know, shooting games, you know, your sort of Call of Duty type games. I see people playing those. I see people on YouTube. I see people on Netflix. I see people on Facebook. I don't know if that's necessarily bad. I mean, I think there should be a place in the school day where kids get a break, you know, from working. And if that's how you give yourself a break, you know, by watching, an episode of Friends or playing, you know, a short video game with your friends, I don't necessarily see that as a bad thing. It only becomes bad when you're doing that when you really have to do it. When there's like an assignment due next period that you haven't finished and you're making that choice. But most of what I see is just people doing things that are just like for entertainment value. You know, I don't see anything inappropriate where I feel like I have to shut them down.
In addition, these technologies open up avenues for cheating and plagiarism, largely because of the internet. Academic cheating and plagiarism skyrocketed around the turn of the millennium. In her article, a journalist named Lori DeMaru talks about how since now there is tons of information available on the internet, it is very easy for students to just use copy and paste to plagiarize any given assignments. The plagiarism issue in schools has slowly been eliminated through the invention of other learning-based websites. Most schools now have found websites for essay submissions that can check for internet plagiarism and faulty citations, such as Turnitin.com. With this website, the instructor is able to see if any information had been copied out of the internet, eliminating the huge problem of internet plagiarism. Even though there are many disadvantages concerning the use of social media during school, there are some individuals who can actually successfully multitask between social media and assignments at hand. In an article by the Washington Post, Rachel Feldman talks about two senior high school students in Oregon, Sarah U. Caulfield and Alexandra Ulmer, who conducted a study on the results of multitasking. In their study, 400 adolescents were tasked with completing basic tests in one of two rooms. The first was free of distractions, but in the second, participants were required to listen to music. They were also told that they could do anything they wanted to on their phones or computers, and that they should expect an email and quickly answer it. Unsurprisingly, most did better in the room where they were allowed to focus on just testing, but about 15% of those tested, those who classified themselves as frequent multitaskers, actually did better when they had email and music to focus on as well. This study shows that for most people, multitasking is in fact ineffective, but for certain individuals who perform this often, it actually enhanced their performance. These students believed that individuals who multitask regularly actually have a different kind of brain development than ordinary people. They may be adapting to high-frequency attention switching, which is common while using social media, as well as being to increase multitasking skills. Andrew Simmons, who has written in the New York Times before, said, "Many people argue that the slang encouraged by social media has a bad effect on students' writing. However, social media can help students, especially male high school students, reveal emotions and discuss topics that make the writing more powerful and honest. Male students are usually encouraged to be silent, contained, and not reveal emotions. On Facebook, however, students routinely discuss personal issues and emotions and receive praise for doing so. The greater freedom to express themselves improves the writing at school. He is saying that social media can really aid in the mental development of many male students. It helps them reveal emotions and other topics that they wouldn't be able to express normally. For my hands-on project, I eliminated all kinds of technological distractions from school, and when I was doing homework for a whole week, I came to the conclusion that since now technology has been fully integrated into the classroom curriculum, I wasn't able to participate in some assignments in one of my classes. On the other hand, eliminating technological distractions while doing homework actually helped me complete assignments faster and more efficient.